how coal is made? Coal is made through the process of carbonization. So coal is a non-renewable source of energy, meaning the earth will eventually run out of it. And once it has gone, it has gone. It takes thousands of years for coal to form naturally, so in realistic terms, we cannot make it anymore. The energy in coal comes from huge dead plants and that once inhabited this earth around 300,000 years ago, way before the dinosaurs. Once these Goliath plants and ferns died, they formed in layers at the bottom of the swamps they grow in. Over time, water and dirt started to gather and build up on top of plant matter. Over thousands and thousands of years, under intense heat and pressure, the matter would undergo chemical and physical changes, pushing out all of the oxygen, leaving what we know as coal. So what is the importance of coal? For this image shows that after the coal is mined, it is transported to power plants by trains, barge, and trucks. A conveyor belt carries the coal to a pulverizer, as you can see in our image, where it is ground to the fineness of talcum powder. The powdered coal is then blown into a combustion chamber of a boiler, where it is burned at around 2,550 degrees Fahrenheit. Surrounding the walls of the boiler room are pipes filled with water. Because of the intense heat, the water vaporizes into superheated 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, high pressure. The steam passes through a turbine, which is similar to a large propeller, connected to a generator. The incoming steam causes the turbine to rotate, creating a magnetic field inside the wire coils in the generator. This pushes an electric current through the coils out of the power plant through transmission lines. After the steam passes through the turbine chamber, it is cooled down in cooling towers and it is again becomes part of the water steam cycle. We have also the oil. The oil was formed from remains of marine animals and plants that lived millions of years ago, that accumulated on the sea bottom and went through geologic forces and formation. So where does oil came from or come from and how it is formed? So for example, we have crude oil. Crude oil is formed from remains of dead organisms, such as algae and zooplankton that existed millions of years ago in a marine environment. These organisms were the dominant forms of life on Earth at that time. Oil has become the world's most important source of energy since the 1950s. Its product in modern society mainly supplying the energy to power our industry. It heat homes and provide fuel for vehicles and aeroplanes to carry goods and people all over the world. We have also the natural gas. Natural gas is also formed from fossil remains. Natural gas are formed when layers of decomposing organic material are exposed to higher temperature and pressure generated within Earth. So this explains that natural gas is non-renewable hydrocarbon use as a source of energy for heating, cooking, and electricity generation. So the importance of natural gas. So in terms of creating a great deal of energy. Natural gas releases low level of emissions. So this means that greater use of natural gas can actually help our country reduce smog, acid rain, and greenhouse gases. So clean burning natural gas offers such a tremendous energy value because it is abundant, reliable, and flexible. In this image, it explains that oil and natural gas are formed underwater from dead marine organisms. After they decompose, they are superheated from pressure and accumulate in a reservoir of sandstone, limestone, or dolomite. Those stones are examples of sedimentary rocks. In addition, petroleum, also called crude oil, is a fossil fuel. Like coal and natural gas, petroleum was formed from the remains of ancient marine organisms such as plants, algae, and bacteria. Today, we will also using petroleum and is found in vast underground reservoir where ancient seas were located. So, for example, we have the Scarborough Shoal, a place where petroleum and fossil fuel, such as natural gas, are formed. We have also the renewable energy. Renewable energy is energy generated from natural sources, such as sunlight, wind, water, waves, tides, various forms of biomass, and geothermal heat, also known as alternative or clean energy sources. Our renewable sources of energy can be replenished faster than fossil fuels and have a lower environment impact. So this explains that renewable energy provides reliable power supplies and fuel diversification, which enhance energy security. It lowers risk of fuel spills and reduces the need for imported fuels. Renewable energy also helps conserve the nation's natural resources. So the meaning of clean energy sources is carbon-free energy that creates little to no greenhouse gas emissions. So therefore, it can lessen the climate change or the global warming. Renewable energy is energy that comes from resources that are naturally replenished, such as sunlight, wind, water, and geothermal heat. We have the first type of renewable energy resources, the biomass. Biomass refers to biological or plant and animal material used as fuel for generation of electricity, fuel, and heat. So what is the impact of biomass on the environment? Burning either fossil fuels or biomass releases carbon dioxide, a greenhouse gas. However, the plants that are source of biomass for energy capture almost the same amount of carbon dioxide through photosynthesis, while growing as released when biomass is born, which can make biomass a carbon neutral energy source. Means that the energy fuel or energy systems which have no net greenhouse gas emission and it is safe for the environment. Sources of biomass includes the first one, the food waste. Food waste are biodegradable food that is not eaten. These organic residues can be used as biomass energy sources. So this explains that there is no amount of food waste too small. Every bit of food recycled through the process of food waste residues, the release of destructive greenhouse gases. When your food waste is recycled, instead of being sent to landfill, the gases are captured and converted into green energy and natural fertilizers that can be used for farming. Next, we have the wood. Wood, which is used when the energy requirement is low, such as simple burning, cooking, and heating. So, wood is considered humankind's very first source of energy. Today, it is still the most important single source of renewable energy, providing about 6% of the global total primary energy supply. Today, burning of wood is the largest use of energy derived from a solid fuel biomass. Next, we have the solid waste. Solid waste are the common non-biodegradable refuse generated from houses, schools, and other establishments. They can be used for energy production through burning. However, waste should be sorted first to separate combustible organic materials. So the major pollutants associated with solid waste combustion can travel two main paths into the environment via stock emissions and ash discharge. Many of the products of waste energy recovery are common to all combustion processes by burning solid waste. Next, we have the crop residue and animal waste. The crop residues and animal waste are leftover materials from harvesting crops and animal waste. Straws and stalks can be collected for low energy use, such as heating and cooking. The same can be done to animal waste that has been dried up. So, crop residues and animal waste can improve soil structure. It also increases organic matter content in the soil, reduce evaporation, and help fix carbon dioxide in the soil. Good residue management practices on agricultural lands have many positive impact on soil quality. Besides, crop residues can be used in biofuel productions. We have also the energy plants. Energy plants are crops specifically grown for energy production. They include sugarcane, corn, sugar beets, and grains. They are grown because they have a high yield of dry material and contain ethanol, both of which are combustible. Next, we have the hydroelectric power. The hydroelectric power is the energy obtained from converting the kinetic energy of fast-moving water into electricity. Waterfalls, running rivers, tidal power, and ocean waves are great options for hydroelectric power. In other cases, the water is collected in a dam or reservoir and is allowed to flow constantly on a steep slope to harness water energy. So, hydropower is fueled by water. So, it is a clean fuel sources, meaning it won't pollute the air like power plants that burn fossil fuels such as coal or natural gas. Hydroelectric power is a domestic source of energy and allowing each state to produce their own energy without being reliant on international fuel resources. Next, we have the wind energy. Wind energy is the energy harnessed from the flow of the air. Wind energy can be harnessed in wide open spaces where the wind is strong, such as along seashores or deserts and mountain tops. In our figure, it represents the Aklan Nabas windmill. So, wind energy is a source of renewable energy. It does not contaminate, it is inexhaustible, and reduces the use of fossil fuels, which are the origin of greenhouse gases that causes global warming. So therefore, wind energy is a clean energy sources. Wind power has some of the lowest environmental impacts of any source of electricity generation. Solar power or solar energy. The solar power is converted energy derived from the sun. In converting solar energy to power, certain challenges confront scientists and engineers in developing the necessary technology. Solar energy is intermittent and dispersed. However, recent developments in technology have offered solutions to the challenges of collecting solar energy, such as solar panels that can store excess source. So this explains that solar energy is an example of a clean source of energy. No greenhouse emissions are released into the atmosphere when you use solar panels to create electricity. And because the sun provides more energy than we'll ever need, electricity from solar power is a very important energy source in the move to clean energy production. So we have our image, an example of solar power energy, located in Negros Occidental Provincial Government. So the 10 billion solar farm located in Hacienda Pass, Barangay Tinampaan, Cadiz City, is developed through a partnership of GAI or Gregoria Araneta Incorporated and Solid Holdings Incorporated on the solar generation facility of Helios Solar Energy Corporation. Next, we have the geothermal energy. Geothermal energy is the energy harnessed from the heat coming from Earth. The sources of heat range from the shallow ground to hot water and hot rocks a few miles beneath the Earth's surface and down to the extremely high temperature of molten rock or magma. Heat from these sources can be used either for direct heating or to generate electricity. So this explains that geothermal energy is one of the most promising among renewable energy sources. It has proven to be reliable, clean, and safe, and therefore it is used for power production, and heating and cooling is increasing. It is a power source that produces electricity with minimal environmental impact. Water resources. About 70% of Earth's surface is covered with water. Despite this, we hear of water depletion. There is a small amount of water, about 1% available for human consumption or for human use. So in our figure shows that about 71% or 70% area of Earth is covered by water and 29% is in the land area. For this reason, the Earth is also known as Blue Planet. Water distribution on Earth is shown in the form of pie chart. As you can see in our figure, it can be seen that about 97% of all water is in the oceans and 3% exists as fresh water. The middle pie shows the distribution of the 3% of all Earth's fresh water. The majority of fresh water, about 70%, is locked up in glaciers and ice caps, mainly in Greenland and Antarctica. This is equivalent to 2% of total fresh waters. This means that 99% of water available on Earth are composed of ocean, ice caps, and glaciers. Is not usable. The remaining 1% of fresh water is available in two forms of surface water, in the form of rivers, lakes, and groundwater. So water is important. Water is important for living things. In the modern civilization, the quality of water is as important as its quantity. Water must be free of pollutants, which are mostly bacterial in content, toxic chemicals, and suspended solid substances. Oceans and other large bodies of water, marine waters, contain a large amount of salts and minerals, which is why they cannot be used by humans even in commercial and industrial operation unless they go through the process of desalination. So desalination is the process of removing dissolved salts from water to produce fresh water. So in our image, there are several ways to remove salt from water. The first one, we have the reverse osmosis. So reverse osmosis and distillation are the most common ways to desalinate water. Reverse osmosis, water treatment, pushes water through small filters. It will filter the water and leaving the salt behind. Reverse osmosis is a natural phenomenon whereby water passes through a semi-permeable membrane from a solution with low salt concentration into a solution of higher salt concentration until an equilibrium in the chemical potential of the water is established.